It's a made video. Hey guys, welcome back. This is the long awaited by no one, but I kept saying I'd do it and then pushed it off for 3 months video about everything about writing except the writing. So in this video, I'm gonna just talk about everything that goes into getting inspiration and ideas and information for writing a book, um, and not the actual sitting down and writing of the book. So keep in mind, these are just tips that I use or that I recommend. Use them, don't use them. It's up to you. Um, but yeah, so I'm just going to show you my process for getting ready to sit down and write, for getting the information to sit down and write, all the things that you do to just get in the mood to, just immerse yourself in your book. Because writing shouldn't seem like a chore. It should seem like something that you're excited to do. You shouldn't want to just like push out a book just like here's up here. Because no one wants to read something you're not passionate about. So without further ado, here are my tips. Pinterest. So I love Pinterest. Pinterest is great. It's probably my favorite app ever. um, Something I would recommend is to go on Pinterest and make a board with the title or working title of your book or book series, and then split it into different folders for different aspects of your book. For example, my book's called Elemental, and it has groups called residents. Think like the cabins in Percy Jackson or the houses from Harry Potter. Um, People are split into groups called residents. And each resident has a different aesthetic, they have different needs, they have different wants, they have different powers. So it's called elemental. They have earth resident, air resident, fire resident, and water residents. And I split these into different folders in my elemental Pinterest board. And you can see here all of the inspiration. You can see it's very different from residence hall to residence hall, um, based on just their outfit style, based on aesthetics, based on the look and feel for each residence hall. And I also have folders that are on weapons, keys. Keys are a big part of my book. Healing remedies, since there's no modern medicine, crystals, gems, minerals, um, uniforms for when they're going to school, just stuff like that. Tailor it to your book or what you're doing. Here's another one. This is another one based off another idea I had for a book. It's called The Remains of the Exile. The idea for the book was like these people who did like illegal crimes get sent on this spaceship to go be basically the lab rats for a new um, planet. And this is what their Pinterest board looks like. It's split into like how the rooms would look, how wards would look, their uniforms, just basic outfits. They had like training uniforms and like school uniforms, I know, because they were all like 16, 17-year-olds. I haven't wrote this book. This was just an idea I had for a book, but I made the board just because I felt inspired. So here you can see, just tailor it to your book and your needs so you can feel inspired. Keep a Google Doc or a notebook full of information for your character, like what's their favorite movie, what's their biggest fear, what's their biggest flaw, do they have a crush on another character, what are they really bad at. Ask yourself these questions about your character and then answer them. Maybe your character is afraid of bees, maybe they're a really good singer but they're really bad at dancing, maybe they love to bake. Basically you're kind of like giving yourself an interview and answering the questions in character, and then write that stuff down. Because even if it's stuff that's probably not important to this book, if you're writing a series, it might be important to the next book. Maybe it's something trivial, but you said it somewhere in the first book and you don't want to, say something contradictory in the fourth book. Just write it down so oh, this character I said in book 2 was allergic to hazelnuts, and now you know that. So when you're writing the other books, you don't forget and like they're eating Nutella and everyone's like, I thought that character was allergic to hazelnuts. Another thing to keep in that notebook or that Google Doc is world building. It's kind of in the same vein as the last tip. Ask yourself questions and write a backstory on the world, and even if it's still on Earth, like if you're writing about a small town, ask yourself questions. Who founded the town? When did they found it? Is it a gossipy town? What's the political views? How long has your family been in the town? Did you just move, or have you been there for generations on generations? If you're writing about a whole new world, who rules it? Is it royal hierarchy? Is it dictatorship? Is it anarchy? Or is it voted by the people? Is it futuristic, medieval? Is it more modern? Is there electricity and plumbing? How do the people typically dress? How's the world divided? I made a map for my book on Inkarnate just because that helped me get a more detailed, because I was talking about all these different places, and I was like, where are these places geographically? Like, I have no idea. So I went on Inkarnate and I made a map. You can just draw up a map, and you can use another software. I'm not sponsored by Inkarnate. I'm just saying that's what I use. Another thing I would say is visit places and do stuff. Does your book include someone riding a horse or fencing? Do that. Does your book take place in Seattle or Denver? Go there. Are your characters really into art or vintage motorcycles? Learn about it. The best way to write something realistically is to experience it. So if your character loves Chipotle or crossword puzzles, get a burrito bowl and go get a crossword book. If it's something you can't do or you're not willing to do, that's fine. I don't expect you to join Cirque du Soleil because your character's in the circus. You can talk to a professional. For example, my book heavily involves, like I said, crystals, gems, and minerals. So I went to a place that sells crystals, gems, and minerals and has experts there, and I talked to them about it because each character has an assigned crystal or gem or mineral to them. And I just went over the information I had, and I talked to them, and I learned a lot of really good information. And, I had to change up some crystals for some certain people based on their properties, because what I read online didn't align with what the experts I was talking to had said, and I did more research. And just talking to people who know what they're talking about is an amazing thing to do. Google is great, but Google doesn't, Google's not always accurate. So it's great to talk to people who know what they're talking about. Another thing is, there are some things that you just don't have access to. Like, not everyone like if one of your characters is deaf or blind or hard of hearing or an amputee or has a certain disorder or mental disability, you should talk to people who know someone or who go through that, because obviously if you're not deaf, then you won't know what it's like to wear an implant, or to just the highs and lows, the harassment. You won't know what it's like going through daily life with that because you've never experienced it. So a great thing to do is talk to someone who has. And I think that's an amazing thing to do because it's more accurate and you aren't being insensitive by just like guessing. Another thing I'd say is kind of like role play your character. That might sound a bit weird, but I was writing this short story about these two siblings, and I just didn't really feel it. Like I couldn't really just get into the character's mindset. So what I did was they were at the airport, and I went on Chipotle.com and I ordered a Chipotle bowl based on what I feel like he would have ordered. And it doesn't always, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it doesn't always have to be like that. You can, I know these two people I've seen on TikTok, they were writing a story together, and they would send each other letters written in character. I've also done this. I've written letters to other characters in calligraphy, and I've sent letters back. And I know it kind of seems ridiculous at first. You're like, what are you doing? But like, it does help it feel more personable, and they feel less imaginary, even though that is what they are. But they need to feel really you, for you to, oh, this earring just will not let me be great. They need to feel personable to you because you're the author, and their words and emotions need to flow through you. Make a music playlist based on music you think they like and listen to it while you're writing as them. Like I said, send the letters, order food they like, maybe make a Pinterest board based on style they'd like. You can do that. Like add like aesthetic photos and outfits to that Pinterest board. I love Pinterest. Pinterest is perfect and it solves all your problems. But yeah, those are my tips. Thank you so much for watching. I hope these tips help you. They help me a lot. And writing is difficult. It is hard to set time aside to just kind of write in a book. And I understand it gets tiring at times. You're like, do I really want to go through and edit these? Do I really want to go through and like write new dialogue? And you get stuck and you're like, what happens from here? But I hope these help you because they really help me. Thank you so much for watching this, as I said. Like the video if you liked it. If you didn't, then hey, I'm sorry. Uh, but I hope to come out with another video soon. I know I like upload constantly and then like stop for 2 months and then upload again, but that's life. So I will see you guys. My glasses are dirty. I will see you when I see you. I don't want to say a specific time because I don't want to lie. But yeah. Bye.